Where I am now, better than before, through those open doors. Where I am now, where I am now, I'm in a special place, a tender walking place. Where I am now. It's now time for the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. The music that you hear in the background is none other than Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, Where I Am Now. And if you'd like to see us live in WGPL 1350 studio, all you have to do is go to Edward Everett's Facebook page or Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton's Facebook page. And guess what? You can see us live right here in WGPL 1350 studio. And if you want to hear us all over the globe, all you have to do is go to www.christianbroadcastingcompany.com or WPCE 1400 or 1350 AM. And guess what? You can hear us all over the world. And now I want to introduce to some and present to others the host of the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton, and a pleasant good morning to you.
Good morning, Mr. E. It really is a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
Would you, could you, will you be my neighbor?
Let's welcome our neighbors, our WGPL 1350 AM listeners.
Peace, 95.3 FM and WPCE 1400 AM.
Facebook Live is on and popping. We have Miss Katrina Brown. Good morning, young lady.
We have Miss Roberta Collins too.
Yes.
Good morning.
Well, let's not forget Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll shout you out later on in the show.
Like, share, subscribe, comment.
Do all that.
And shout out.
We'll shout you out. We promise. We sure will.
Shout out.
Mr. E, what day is it today?
Today is Hump Day. That's what today is.
That was a little bit of Mr. E and a little bit of what's our friend in Jamaica?
Felix.
That was a combo play.
You know, Felix in Jamaica, he's coming back real soon.
Well, I tell you what, you all should be up and popping. It's the middle of the week.
That's right. It's the middle of the week, and you should be up and ready to go.
Mr. E, that was the greatest hump day in the whole wide world.
Hump day?
Yes, Wednesday today. We're in November, y'all.
That's right. We in November. What today? November the 2nd.
November the 2nd.
Yeah.
The last time we were here was Halloween. And we were
trying
to talk through those masks.
Trickery and trickery.
Oh
trickery and treating.
I didn't see not one soul. I was on a conference call, but when I came there, I didn't see not one soul come past the house, even though the lights were off.
I didn't. So my lights was on, but I didn't see that one child come by and say trick or treat. My neighborhood was just as dry, and I got little children in there too.
Well, they were all at trunk or treat and all those Halloween parties. Some of them looked so cute. My grandson was so cute, looking like Michael Jackson. But look, the lady has so much bags of candy. I don't know how I'm gonna get rid of all this because I'm sure I'm not gonna eat it.
My grandkids went out also.
Yeah, they look so cute.
Well, they were dressed as Andy on Toy Story.
Yes.
Andy, I forgot the name, and the little girl, cowgirl.
But anyway, we're here in November. Oh, it's my birthday month. Oh, my goodness. And so many folk in November. My son's birthday is in November, too. But we're going to be celebrating a little bit on Friday and just just thanking God for another year.
That's right. It's Miss Hinton's birthday on Friday.
Yes, I got to do something special. I told my daughter, put out in the atmosphere some of the things that I wanted, so from the family. So they get the message every year from me. But anyway, Mr. E, it is hump day, middle of the week. I hope you all are doing well. Denise Sherrod is on. Virginia Soya
She said
is
nice
on.
too.
Good morning. And like I said, make sure you like, share, subscribe, and comment. We'll shout you out later on in the show.
Why you not a Commander fan? Because look at all them folks that's a Commander fan that got birthdays in November.
Oh my. Well, I tell you what, we'll talk about that on Sports Talk. But anyway, Mr. E, it is our Wednesday segment, What's Under the Hat? Issues concerning men.
And that's a great issue. That's some of the things that you all need to get your pen and pencil papers and jot down information of what you want to know about what's under the hat of men, issues that men are dealing with.
Now, Mr. E, we have on our Fridays, we talk about what's in your closet with ladies. Is the approach different? Can you tell it's a whole different vibe? You know, when we talk about men, to me, it's a little more serious. When we talk about ladies, I don't know. It's just a little different vibe. We're going to get a little deeper with our ladies, but we kind of like really pull in some issues when it concerns men.
When it comes to men, we all want to know what make a man tick and why men are like they are and why men are standing around on corners and what's going on with a man. So that's why it's so serious, because there's so many things that a man is supposed to do, a man has started and a man is doing that now he can't find ways to do it, and why he's shutting down.
Well, that's the truth. There are numbers that are saying, you know, there are some problems and issues, and we're going to get to the meat of it. Also, last week we talked about where are the fathers.
That's right. That's right.
And we had a great discussion and some great feedback. And so this week we're going to talk about the father's heart, because, you know, even though there are, you know, trials, tribulations, and problems that come up in the lives of men, there are good-hearted fathers, and there are men that love their children. And so we're going to talk about the prodigal son on today, and we're going to talk about his heart, which if you look at the story and if you know the story, you know, his heart was toward his son. And we find that out later on. Mr. E, what do you know about the prodigal son?
Well, I know that the prodigal son thought that the grass was greener on the other side.
Wow.
And I thought, and I know so much that he decided that he wants to leave. And without the blessings, see, it's one thing to have the blessings, but to leave without the blessings and be destroyed. Because when you step out there without the blessings, you can be destroyed. Sometimes you got to have a word in you when you step out.
Well, he didn't have no word, but he had some money. And so I tell you what, I want to know why the father, can you kind of think about what kind of relationship do you think they have? I think we can only guess what kind of relationship it is. But as you have read the story, what kind of relationship do you think he had with his son?
I think the father and this had a great relationship. He taught his son. He built up everything for his son. He told his son that one day this might be yours, and he made sure that his sons had the blessings. But, you know, of anything they wanted, they didn't have to ask for anything. It was right there for. So Dad had made it possible. You know, Miss Hinton, while we're talking about it, in John 3:16, it says the Father's heart is one of love. Yes. And is so big that he has room in his heart for everyone. He holds a special place in his heart for each and every one of us. His heart is so big that it cannot measure, and it will take eternity for the Lord to show us how big his heart is.
A wonderful heart, and that's the type of heart we should have. And so as we look at this story of the prodigal son and his father, you know, like I said, I'm curious about the relationship. We do know he was a provider.
That's
he had plenty.
That's right.
And we do know he had put money up for his children.
That's right.
And we know that, you know, like I said, at the end, we really find out about his heart and how wonderfully and kind hearted he was and forgiving.
That's right.
So,
That's right.
why did the son leave? I'm just wondering. Was he at the age? I'm wondering if he was at the age of, hey, it's time for me to get on out of here and spread my wings. But this is the thing. Why did he feel the need to want inheritance? Inheritance usually come after death.
That's
After
right.
a parent
That's
dies,
right.
they've set money up and everything. He wanted part of the of what he had, the substance before time. He wanted to go out there and become whatever he wanted to become. He must have had some kind of plan in his head. Uh, and so, Mr. E, what do you think? Why did he leave?
The thing you got to remember about the sons, not only did daddy had a son, but he had two sons.
Remember?
One was older and one was younger.
Mm-hmm.
And the custom says that we has to make sure that the older boy gets what he wants first, and then the younger boy. But there come a time that envy and jealousy and things pop up in heads. So some of them wants to go before time, and some of them wants to get
Why do you say
theirs
envy and jealousy?
before time. The son, the baby boy, could have been jealous of the older boy because that's all he could have heard around the camp. That as you get older, the first child go out, he gets all of this, and then the second child goes out, and then daddy said, "Listen, I want y'all to know I got a nest egg set aside for both of y'all, and that whenever the timing is right, y'all ready to jump out, you can get what you deserve."
Really?
Yeah.
Or was he just ambitious?
Well,
Was he ambitious and say, "Look, it's time for me to get out of here. I need to get out here on my own"?
And I think that what he did, he heard so much about the outside world, the other side of the track. What happens? They said that the grass is greener on the outside, the other side of the track, and he heard that there was a great time going on over there. Just like some of our children today, just like they want to get from under the rules and regulations of our homes and from under the authority of us, and decided that they want to step outside the dwellings. And when they step outside the dwelling, they see so many folks having a wonderful time. They see so many things happening up there, and they might want to be a part of that lamplight.
They could, absolutely. It was something out there he wanted, and it's something inside that he wanted. His father granted him the wish.
That's right.
And I wonder, sometimes as parents, sometimes we have an idea already of what goes on in life and what's out there in the world. And so, sometimes our children can sit back and they don't really understand what they're going to face. I'm laughing because I remember at a certain age, 18 years old, I said, okay, this is my time to fly. I did not want to wait around a long time. And not only that, it's also panned out just like the story of the prodigal son. It's like, okay, mom, my father had passed away, and it was like, okay, now let's give me the goods. At 18, you're supposed to give your children, from what happened, the goods. And that's exactly what she did. And so sometimes mom and dad kind of like see, afar off some things that may take place. And the prodigal son, his father just went ahead and granted the wish.
That's right.
I'm just wondering, we're looking at the father's heart, and he just accommodated his son, whether he felt like he was going to fall into recklessness or whatever. He just said, okay, this is your request. This is what I'm going to do.
Sometimes when you got two men or two women in the house, and then you know that he was bucky. You saw his spirit. You saw that he really wanted to jump out of his authority, out of his daddy's grips, and he got tired of playing the rules. I can recall that when my sons got grown, they said unto me, "Hey, look, I'm ready to go. I gotta get out of here because I cannot put up with the things that how you run your house now. So I gotta get out of here. I gotta go."
Well, they want to be independent. They have their own mind, heart, and they have their own way of seeing the world, even though they have not experienced the world that much. So I also wonder about the father and the relationship with the son. They don't talk that much about him, but I'm curious he wanted to stay. I guess he felt as though, his reaction when the son wanted to come back, his reaction was like, why are you giving him? He wasn't
He
like
bucked. He
he
got
wasn't
out of there.
he
Yeah.
wasn't an obedient son. Why are you, why do you still favor that? He had an attitude. He felt like, there was something wrong with that. And he said, hey, he wanted to go. You should let him, he's going about his business. Why are you taking him back?
And see, because Dad went overboard when he saw his son return. The son, he put a party. He was, glad to see his child. See, that's the heart. That's the heart of a father. Whether you right or wrong, we are so glad to see you. We're so glad to see our children. If you admit you went out there in a bad way, but yet still we're in our spirit, we say, yeah, we're going to give him his blessing. We're going to give him what he desires and let him go on out there. But
Yes.
when we feel or hear that he wasn't doing right, because people talk. And, some folks that was out there probably brought the word back to the daddy and told him that Johnny ain't doing too good. So he was having a ball. And daddy said, okay, fine. He's still my boy. I still gotta love him anyway.
Yeah. So he went on out there and he took that money. Didn't have a plan, poor thing. He went out there and he just spent it on anything and everything. And
everything.
It wasn't the right thing. That's the thing about it.
Well, he wasn't used to the money.
He was immature. Let's just tell it like it is. He went out there and he didn't have no idea of what he was going to face and how he was going to do things. He didn't have a plan.
That's right. See, but a father, Miss Hinton, regardless if there's no plan, when their children step out there, they want to see their children come back and still. Some fathers, let me put it like that. Some fathers, and they do have, because they want to be hardcore. You should have stayed here. What are you doing? And he was glad just to see him.
Well, we can still gonna talk about him out there with the pigs.
But he had to endure. He had to go through now. He had to learn that lesson.
We're gonna talk about him out there cutting up.
He had to learn that lesson. I sometimes when I think about the prodigal son, did daddy tell him about investments? Did daddy tell him about the value of $1? Or did daddy give him a word about how to invest his money, what he need to do? Or did the son said, I want to go out there with this money and didn't care how much it cost, I'm going?
He had enough sense to know it took money to go out there. He had enough sense to ask his father, can I have my inheritance so I can go out there and do what I have to do? But he didn't have a plan and didn't have enough sense to do it right. He did not go out there and invest and build. He did not have a vision. He just went out there and he ended up falling into a lot of things. Riotous living. Yeah. He went out there cutting up,
went to the bars, you name it. He had the final things that he wasn't getting at home. He was getting it out there in the street. He had the wine, the liquor, the beer. He went to the discos. He went to party all night long. I'm just putting it in that air. He just went out there and partied like a rock star. It's just like a child. When I got away from my father, God knows I was just like a rabbit out there. I was running. And that's where I feel that the prodigal son fell. I'm away from structure. I'm away from rules. I'm away from regulation. I'm away from it all. I can do what I want to do. I can have my way. I don't have no curfew or what time I got to be in the house. The refrigerator shuts down at 10 o'clock. I can eat all night long. I can just do my thing.
Well, it's funny how, he chose to do things that weren't as mature as, decisions weren't right as he should have. But he just went on out there and just got into that. And a lot of times, like I said, young people don't have a sense of sometimes what's out there, what kind of people are out there, and the things that you can fall into and the influences. And so, we go out there and we end up, getting crushed by life's lessons. And then we have to, sometimes some children have to come back. Sometimes people have to end up, trying to learn fresh the things that they need to do in order to survive in the right way. Virginia says the lessons they will learn down the road, being out there on your own, is not at all it's cracked up to be. And when the blessings are gone, fun and people disappear, you will remember what your father had. And that's exactly what happened to him, Mr. E. He went out there and he said, and when he finally got into that place where the pig, what happened to him, Mr. E? When he got a place where he really went down.
And then he began to think about things. And he was just like Dorothy, in the Yellow Brick Road. Dorothy at the Wizard of Oz, she said, "There's no place like home." Isn't it funny that
he looked up at that pig in the mud,
and he tried everything,
and he said, "There's no place like home."
That's right. He tried everything. He began to become a pig tender, and we often don't understand the job that he has as a pig tender. A pig tender has to watch what the pig eat. The pig can't eat no glass. He's got to get out there with the slop and with the maggots. He got to get out there and be the sifter for the pig.
Absolutely.
And he remember, this is a nasty flies swarming all around him. And every time he rub his face, he rub that slop. So every time he scratches his back, he scratching slop all on him. So he had to come to this and say, this is not the place to be.
He didn't have a clue, no vision. He had the money, but no vision.
He blew the money, the money gone.
He was mature and not ready to get out there in the world. He didn't have a clue. And so he comes home and he comes to himself. And he says, I think I need to go back. I need to rewind. I need to see if I can get back to my father.
That's right.
The wonderful thing about it is a story of repentance and forgiveness. He really felt bad about his choices. He really felt bad that he wasted, but he also wondered if the love and the care of the father was still there. Was it still there? He was curious about whether or not it was still there. Well, and so, go ahead, Mr. E, tell us a little bit more.
He was real curious about it. He wanted to know, hey, look, do my daddy still love me? I'll become one of his servants. I'll become a servant of my father because my servants eating good, they looking good, they dressing good. So, he had high service, and he said, listen, I'll go back and be a servant.
Yes.
I'll go back just to get back to the home front, just to get back. I learned my lesson out here in the streets.
Yes, he was very sorrowful that he had taken the substance, the inheritance, and had blown it. But he also was like, oh man, my father, he going to accept me back?
Right.
And I'm willing to crawl in there.
That's right.
And so when he comes in and his father says what?
Bring me the best rope. Bring me my biggest ring. I see my boy coming home.
Isn't that beautiful?
And that's love. That's love, regardless of what he'd been through and how he home. People on Miss Hinton and their daddy out, they cuss the mama out, they fuss folk out, and when they leave home, they leave home wrong.
Yes.
But regardless of how he left home, Daddy was right there to welcome him with open arms. Daddy saw his baby come home. It was his boy. It was his son. The Bible does not say it was his favorite son. It said it was his boy. He was glad to see his son come home.
Yes, he killed the fatted calf, gave him a ring of gold, put him on the road, like the wine say.
Yeah.
The restoration. He restored that son.
That's right.
And he didn't make him feel bad.
That's
He
right.
didn't say, well, you went out there and you just out there doing all kind of stuff. It wasn't that. It was like, I'm glad to see you. I
That's right.
love you.
I welcome you.
I
Yeah.
forgive you. I welcome you. And so we can see where fathers have that love for their children.
That's right.
And, some of them are really, really passionate and dedicated to their children. My son, and I know just a whole lot of his friends, they love their sons and daughters. They care for them. They're glad to have those relationships with them. They do all they can, and so there are fathers that are out there that love
That's right.
their children. Now, the thing about it, when fathers get in trouble, or when men get in trouble, sometimes it's a sign of immaturity. And
That's
so
right.
this
That's right.
the prodigal son was very immature, and so sometimes we have to hope that men that find themselves trying to grow up, that they will grow up and that they will take responsibility. Some men do, and some men learn to. Some of them come up, they have the role models, they have folk that show them the way, they have loving families and parents, and so sometimes they end up passing that on. But then there are some that some men that don't have that. They
That's
don't
right.
have the fathers in
That's
the
right.
home.
That's right. They don't have the loving father. They don't have nobody to bring them back, to make them feel comfortable. Some of them are just out there, whether or not that they were born out of wedlock, whether or not that their father has been deceased. They don't have nobody to welcome them back home, and nobody to teach them the skills of let me bring you back.
Yes.
So what happened to the prodigal son? Thank God that he had somebody, that a father that would love him unconditionally.
Yes.
We got to understand that there are fathers out there that love their children, but there are so many folks that stand in the way of a father loving his child.
And that is
And
the
when you
truth.
stand in the way of a father loving his child, that causes the father to go into another lane, into another world, that causes him to feel some kind of way, that caused that daddy to shut down. Why? Because somebody else is stepping in and being a barrier between daddy and son.
There was a time, it's getting better, but when a man would go to court for custody, he would not get those children.
That's
They
right.
favored the mother. And so men find themselves, Missy, just like you're saying, in a place where they have to fight and fight hard and fight because they have two things against them. Sometimes the mother is like, look, I refuse to let you have this child, custody of this child. And then the courts say, hey, we favor women.
That's right.
And men. Before we let you have these children, it's going to be a cold day in hell.
That's right. That's right. And that's what's happened to a lot. And some men has to love their children from a distance.
Yes.
Marvin Gaye had one of the greatest songs in the world that he said, distant lover. He had to learn how to love your children from a distance. In spite of how many folks got in the way, he still had love for his sons. He still, regardless of what he went through and what he had, how stinking he was and how far he had to stand back from him, and whatever that was in between daddy and son, he still had love for that baby.
I always wonder about the second son, and the fact that when the prodigal son came back, he had this attitude, But I'm wondering, was the attitude based on, and I'm not sure if we would ever know certain things, but I was just wondering, did he have an attitude because he saw the father's heart, or was he suffering as, his son went out there? I don't know if he celebrated so much that his son was out there doing what he was doing, but was the son looking, and maybe he had an attitude because the father could have had such pain and misery when it came to having to let his son go.
And he could have shut down on his oldest son. Dad probably didn't want to talk with him because they was out back. My baby is gone. My youngest son is gone. And so the youngest son could have got to the point where saying, I've been here the whole time. I didn't get no part.
Yes, absolutely. But I tell you what, we're going to continue talking about the hearts of the father. And we're going to have some special guests coming on this week coming up. So you all stay tuned. Thank you for allowing us to come into your homes and into your space. Bless you. Have a wonderful day, and we'll see you back here on Fun Friday.
For the past 30 minutes, you've been listening to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Abbott, the co-host. Don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 right here on WGPL 1350. And have a wonderful, wonderful hot day.
Took a long time to get to this way.
So, the story of the prodigal son, the father's heart. He had a wonderful, kind-hearted father who welcomed him back after he went out there and destroyed all the money.
That's right.
Got in there and was doing all kind of stuff. How much more should we, welcome our children back? I think sometimes, it's hard to see our children, make certain decisions. Sometimes it's hard to see them make mistakes. And sometimes we do point the finger. Now, I told you all that, when I was 18, I went and I moved to Washington, D.C. I came back and I went to college and I got a place with my best friend. And we stayed there for a couple of years, I believe. Then it was time. It was like to move on. It was like, okay, wait a minute. I need to go back home. And so I went back home, and sometimes you are, you have to actually get back, well, it's never the same, really. It's not the same. But sometimes you do have to go back. And sometimes it's wonderful to have a parent that's able to say, okay, come on home, regroup, and then you can do it again.
That's right.
But sometimes people don't have that. They have, well, why are you back here? Why are you coming home? And I didn't, because some parents want their children out at a certain age.
That's
and so,
right.
Sometimes it's not like that story. Sometimes it's the opposite. But I'm saying it would be wonderful to be able to welcome if our children at a certain age come back. Not we ain't talking about them coming back with a whole bunch of folks. Whole lot of children. But I'm saying, if you're still in that young age, 19, 20 or whatever, you come back, just to regroup. Sometimes it's a good thing to be able to be there, come back home to do it.
Miss Hinton, when I left home, I didn't know, I hadn't been home in 20 years.
Whoa.
Been a grown man for 20 years out there from high school on out there on my own in the military and things of that nature. But I fell out. Mm-hmm. And I had to go back home. One of the hardest things in the world was for me is going back home and not being home in 20 years and trying to rearrange things to fit in again. Yes. My mother, God bless her soul, I love her so much. She treated me just like I was a little child.
Wow.
My mother loved us so much. When I came back home, Miss Hinton, she walked me to the bus stop. When mm-hmm. I didn't have transportation because I fell out. And mm-hmm. so she would get up early in the morning when I got to go to work, and she would walk me to the bus stop, made sure I got on the bus stop, went on back home, and then like I was just a little child. Then when it was time for me to get off the bus, guess who was standing there waiting for me to get off the bus? My mama. I said, Lord have mercy. And that's because she knew that I needed to be regrouped. She knew that I made an error. She knew I left home before time, left home trying to be grown. And now, now I'm home.
I want to say good morning to Deborah Harris, and thank you all so much for tuning in to FYI Radio Show. You're talking about the hearts of the Father. We're going to have some special guests. Miss Lee's going to tell you who our upcoming guests will be. But we are just happy and excited to be able to go deep into man's heart. All men are not deadbeat. All men are not, without a heart. A lot of men have hearts, and they are, able to show and, love their children and love their wives, their daughters, And so we just want to look into some of the situations that men find themselves in. And not only that, ways of improving, because some men have to improve. Sometimes they have to improve relationships with their children. Sometimes they have to learn to make better decisions when it comes to spouses and girlfriends or whatever. Sometimes they have to make decisions for themselves, because some men do get out there into riotous living, and they end up going down, Mr. E, as
That's
a
right.
result of some of the choices that they made. But nevertheless, we just want to show that picture of a heart of a man, how it can be, how it should be, and how some of them want them to be.
That's right. That's right. Miss Hinton, we want to let our listening audience know that, hey, there's no place like home. Please, when you leave home, try to leave home in a way that you can come back.
That's sweet.
Don't leave home in a way that dad and mama don't want you back there, period.
Sometimes they don't want you back. Like, Lord.
Leave home in a way that, hey, they were glad. And one thing I can say about this prodigal son is that he might have left home, with an attitude, wanting his goods. But daddy said, listen, even though you went out there wrong, I'm still going to love you right.
And teach them. You got to teach them to have a vision. Don't wait till they're 25 and say, okay, what you going to do? You got to teach them coming up to have a vision and know what they want. They may want to go out at 18 or 19 or 17 or whatever, but you make sure you teach them so they can exist and survive in this world. Teach them about people. Teach them about work. Give them work ethics. Teach them about setting goals and having vision and being responsible and productive. So when they do go out, they may not know how to walk that fine line perfectly, but they'll have an idea what it takes to survive.
That's right. I want to say good morning to Miss Sheila Robbins, Miss Katrina Brown, Chris Hinton, Sheila Davis, Virginia Sawyer, Deborah Harris, and Denise Sherrod. I want to say good morning to you. Thank you all so much for tuning in to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world.
Teach them the love side. Teach them about God. They have to have a consciousness of God and awareness of God. You've got to make that connection as you bring them up. Men, that's your responsibility.
That's right.
As well. You should be in the home or some way, even if you're not in the home. Still teach them the ways of God.
And that's teach from a distance.
That's some of the missing link. Sometimes the connection that men don't have, and that is the oneness with the Father, with God.
One thing I can say about Miss Hinton is that, she really wants to see a whole balance. She's balancing the men as well as the women. So listen, men, I know it hurts. I'm a man, I'm a father. I know it's hurt that after you all have done all you could do and you had to send your son out of your house or your daughter out of your house in a wrong way. But have the door where they can come back in and you can show them LOVE, love.
Yes. So the love of the Father, it's the same thing. The scripture's trying to show you the love of God, the heart of God, and how he forgives us. It's a story of repentance and forgiveness. And we'll talk about more of that as we continue with these lessons of the hearts of the Father. Mr. E, we have some upcoming shows.
Yes, we got some upcoming shows coming up this Friday. We got Miss Katrina Brown will be our special guest. And then on Friday, Miss Katrina Brown. And then we got Mr. Johnny Walton going to be our special guest. And then we got Mr. Ernest Sutton will be our special guest, along with Jakar Denise will be our special guest. Mr. Dion Board will be our special guest, along with Hezekiah Brown will be our special guest also. And then we have Miss Katrina Burns will be with us. Also, we got on Sports Talk that Monday, we got another special guest. And then on the 30th, we got the judge. Here come the judge. Here come the judge, Judge Jones. He's going to be talking on issues dealing with men.
Absolutely. Look, don't forget the ladies' pies. Please pre-order.
Thanksgiving.
It's time to go back and start cooking pies for you all for the holiday season. You can actually inbox me and let me know that you all are ready to put in your order. I can send you an invoice and we can go from there. Also, the book, Bullying is Right Underneath Your Nose, Yolanda Hinton. It is in English, it's in Spanish, and soon to be Audible. You'll be able to get it in Audible probably in a few weeks. It's been, it's already, it's in the works. You should be able to see it real soon. I will post when that Audible book is there. Let's see what else. Oh, the game, Bullvik, is going to be out. Bullvik, that's a new business of mine. You'll see some of the things that's going to come out of Bullvik.
Yeah.
So you all watch out for those things as well. The ladies' music is online. If you all want to be a special guest or a sponsor, Mr. E got the tea for you.
And all you want to be a special guest, or you want to be a special guest or a sponsor, just give us a call at area code 757-714-7861, or go to Edward Everett's Facebook page, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton Facebook page, or FYI Facebook page. Inbox us and let us know that you'd like to be a special guest or intern or sponsor. Or you can go to FYI Radio Show Live at gmail.com and go and inbox us. That's FYI Radio Show Live at gmail.com, or give us a call at 757-714-7861.
Don't forget to let us know if you all, well, I'll tell you, not let us know, but follow us. That's what right. I want to say. Follow us on social media. We would love for you all to like and share our content and also give suggestions. Don't forget Friday serving that tea. If you all want to serve that tea, send us some real good stories. We got some tea for you on Friday. We're going to be serving it and stirring it and all kind of stuff, bringing you some of the latest things that is happening in our cities and our country and our world and entertainment and more politics. And don't forget to vote. I already voted, y'all. Don't forget to vote. You got serving that tea. We have that available.
We got cups available.
We'll have the t-shirts real soon. But don't forget to vote. Please go out there and vote. People need to be responsible for their cities, for their community, and you going out there and voting shows that you care about yours, and your environment. Mr. E, I think this.
Don't forget one other thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you'd like us to host your event this holiday, it's right around the corner. All you have to do is give us a call at 757-714-7861, or go to Gig Salad and let us know that you want us to host your event. And we do hosting. Miss Hinton and Mr. E will be right there with bells and whistles on. No. We'll be right there to host your event. All you have to do is pick up the telephone and give us a call.
Yeah, so Gig Salad, GIG Salad, you can go there. That is, they represent us. You all can find out what it's going to take to have us at your special event or your special occasion. Mr. E will also give you the number. You can contact him and talk to him about us coming to speak or come out there to, be a part of your event.
And if you want Miss Hinton to come and sit down and read your books, read her books to you, Bullying is Underneath Your Nose, let us know. Give us a call at 757-714-7861. And the books are in two versions. They're in English and also in Espanol, Spanish.
And Audible is going to be there in Spanish and in English as well. So I'm very excited about that. But you all stay blessed. We love you. Thank you so much. We're going a little bit earlier. But we will see you back here on Friday.
On Fun Friday.
Mr. E, take it away.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the most talked about radio show in the whole wide world. That's FYI Radio Show with your host, Miss Yolanda, the Lady Hinton. I'm Ed Everett, the co-host. And for more information, give us a call, 757-714-7861. And don't forget to join us Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 9:30 to 10 right here on WGPL 1350, WPCE 1400, Peace 95.3, and WMVA 88.9 FM.
All right. God bless you. You all are wonderful. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for your support.
2 up, 2 down, VA.